Hey guys, welcome back to the Year of Magical Learning. As you know, it's called Yomo, and we are on book 146. Actually, not book 146, it's actually reflection 146.
Reflection. Yeah.
This is actually the conclusions of the series, part three of three of the book Will by Will Smith and Mark Manson. And I guess the lesson for today is, don't be like Will.
The lesson for the day is be like Gigi. So I'll explain what
Because
that means.
there's somebody else better than Will.
Yeah, there is. I mean, for sure. So just a quick recap. This is a book about Will Smith's life. It's a memoir of his life. It's a book that my wife and I read together. If you've missed the first two reflections on Will,
To go back and watch
yeah, you can learn about
episode 145 and 144. It's in the series.
Exactly. So, this book's about Will Smith's life. It's his memoir from his childhood to today and kind of his own journey of discovering himself and learning new things. There's a lot of good lessons in it. It's a good book. Check it out. Really enjoyed it. Obviously, I wrote 3 reflections on it, so I enjoyed it. Reflection 1 was about method acting, which was about becoming the person you want to become, basically. Well, reflection 2 is about, finding your Jazzy Jeff in life to partner up with, to build a meaningful relationship around the stuff that you guys both care about and really kind of, make life explosive when you can connect and partner up with somebody that really cares as much as you do about things you care about. And then the third one is to live like Gigi. Gigi is Will Smith's grandmother. That's what he calls his grandma, is Gigi. Mm-hmm. And in my opinion, she's like the real star of this whole entire book and the star of Will's life. She reminds me of my own grandma, who I call Granny. And I was just joking. I was like, what is it about grandmas? I don't know. Do you have a close relationship with your grandma? Is she somebody that you like?
No, I don't.
Yeah. Okay.
My maternal mother-in-law, she passed away even before I was born. So I never got to, most of my grandparents, I only know my paternal grandmother, but she lives far away. So, we don't. So no, not one.
Yes. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, but
so I can't find my Gigi.
Yeah, you may not. I'm sure you'll empathize with what I'm saying, though. Whether or not it's your grandma, just an old person in your life that just seems like they have so much wisdom. It's like they're these crazy mythical creatures that are incredible guides and shepherds of their flocks. They're somehow equal parts spiritual guru, motivational speaker, teacher, philosopher, best listener, role model, comforter, disciplinarian, always know exactly what to say at the right times when you need them. I mean, that's like my grandma in a nutshell. That's how Gigi was too. Like, she was just one of those people that you just meet and you're just like, man, like, you're just an incredible human being. You can just feel their aura around them of like, you're just a great person, and somebody that you want to look up to as a role model. And I was joking in this reflection. I said, I don't normally usually read these. I just kind of usually shoot from the hip about generalities of what the reflections were. But I thought this is a pretty clever line. One of Will Smith's most famous rap songs was a song called Parents Just Don't Understand. It was back in the 80s when he wrote it, and it was, it was about his parents just don't understand, and it was like a fun, catchy song and, big hit. Well, I was like joking about it, parents don't understand. And that's probably true. Cause I mean, like, I don't know shit. Like when you're a certain age, like, I don't know how to raise kids, whatever, but it's like, he should write another song called Grandparents Just Know It All, know everything. It's like that. I don't know what it is, but you just feel like they're always going to be there and have the right answer for you and have the right guidance. And that's how, Gigi was for Will. What I love most about Gigi and the way that Will described her was in her last few months of her life here on Earth, everybody kind of knew it was coming close to being up. She lived like a really long and full life. And he was like, it didn't feel sad. He was like, actually just kind of felt like a celebration. Like, everybody that had ever met her, she had touched their lives in some way. And, she lived a life filled with actions that she valued most, which was like family and friends and church and God and, her community and, everyone that knew her loved her. I talked about my grandma a little bit. She just reminds me of my grandma. She's the same way. Like, she's still here with us, but I know someday I wrote about her and I Can't Imagine. You remember she's Big Mama, right?
Right.
And she's just one of those people that both my grandmothers are amazing people, but my Big Mama Granny, she's also just one of those people that, like, I know that someday when she leaves this world, every single person that she's touched along the way will just have a smile on their face and they'll just think of her and she'll be like, she's just like a rock solid human being, somebody that you want to emulate, somebody that makes you feel like you can be a better person in this world. And, when I think of Gigi, I want to be like that, right? Like when I want to be like my grandmother when I'm their age or right now, just whenever people see you, they just know that you live a value-filled life and you have a purpose-driven life and you make the people around you better. You make the people around you smile. You make the people around you feel like they're better for knowing you. And that's kind of like, if you put me on my deathbed when I'm 80 years old, or 108 years old or something like that, 180 years old. Yeah. I hope that that's the feeling that I give to other people and that I can feel like I did as well over the course of my life, because that'll mean I've fulfill my promise to my daughter and live the life that I said I wanted to live, which was a life filled with values and meaningful work and meaningful relationships. So that's what Gigi means to me. It's just a reminder, like, just be a great person and people will remember you for living the life you say you want to live. The question I pose is, who's someone in your life that whenever you think of them, you smile and just can think about who they are and how they live their life and want to emulate. So yeah, I'd love to get your thoughts and maybe your answer to that question.
So how do you be like Gigi or Granny in your age now? What do you need to do to get there? I mean, how do they get there? How does Gigi become Gigi? Or how does Granny become Granny to you? Do I have to wait until I have grandkids to be, the papa or whatever? If I want to become or be like papa, how do I do that? I know based on what we talk about as far as the core values of company and whatnot, but I wonder what does it take for Gigi to become Gigi and for Granny to become Granny?
It's easy. Do the things you say you care about most in this world and stick to it. Gigi loved her family and her community, church and God, and that's what she did. Everything that she did, the actions that she led, the decisions that she made in her life. Becoming
authentic, be who you are versus trying to be someone else. I think that's what I'm getting out of this reflection that you've been, describing. I think, a Gigi or a Granny is a person that is independent. She cannot be influenced by anything else because she knows who she is.
Exactly.
And she does what, she a beaver must dam. She's a beaver. She's gonna build dams. And to me, this is the essence of what company is about. And to me, that's the first things first is find out who you are and be that person for real. And if you have to method act into that role, then do so. And I want to ask a question because I want to confirm what does it take to become a Granny or a Gigi in your eyes, which I think, in terms of how we talk about company and the core values that we hold. And I think having that essentially personify a Gigi and a Granny in the most authentic way. And I think that's the key is find out who you are and live it on purpose. I mean, if you're a beaver, don't try to be a wolf. And you just, don't. If you're a turtle,
I'm getting my my air horn out. The wah 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 wah. Every time I hear the word beaver, I'm just gonna, wah 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 wah. See,
and you can do it, but I'm gonna continue to do it. To say it regardless.
No, I know.
How many times you bullhorn me? I'm gonna keep saying, a beaver must dam, a writer must write, a painter must paint. You can't escape it. If you escape it, you're only making yourself more miserable.
Totally agree. I was saying that as a good thing. One of the reasons why I think you feel it so much with your grandparents, a lot of this is accrued over a lifetime of just knowing, like, living life and understanding, hey, it's like Tuesdays with Maury, right? When you get to be a certain age and you start to realize the perfect day is ordinary and the stuff that you really care about is, always been, it's like the alchemist. It's always exactly. So, I mean, I think it's just that journey that a lot of grandparents go through of just living life and going, oh, this is what's really important. And then they start to live that way. By the time that you come along, when they're already 60 years old, you look at them and you're like,
I mean, got it together. She goes to church, she cooks for her family, right?
Right.
Well, she does none of that because that's not her. That's not who she is.
Or if they do it, then she's doing it for a reason.
Because that's what she is, right? It's not because she wants to be, let's explore, let's be exciting. What is exciting, right? And that's what I'm saying is, you ask me, how's my weekend? I say, well, it's great. And then you ask me what I do. I said, nothing.
I did what I wanted to do. Is what you should say. It's because I lived the life the true wanted to live.
If you ask me how was my weekend, I say great, because I do love my weekends.
Right.
And it's like a quiet weekend with my family, my kids, and the best day for me is my kids is healthy and they are energized and they are fighting each other and they're breaking the house, right? If my kids are not, then I'm worried. I have 4 kids, and I know, like, it's very hard. It's very heartbroken when your kids don't do anything. They all they do is lay around and tire, right? That is a bad weekend. A great weekend is when nothing happens. Like Tuesday with Maury, nothing happens, right? The Mexican fisherman, I don't need a big fishing boat to get more fish than I need. I just need to catch a few fish for an hour or two, come back and trade in and take a siesta during the day, and then in the afternoon go having a cup of coffee with the people I just do my round, like walk down the street and talk to the bookshop owner and go and talk to the coffee shop owners or the friends sitting down for coffee. And I do that over and over again. I think to me, a lot of people say that's a boring day. And I've been told that before. My life is boring. But the thing is, I don't feel
right. But it's fulfilling though for you, and which is all that really matters, right? Like, and I think of like my grandmother, right? Like if I asked her what her perfect day would be, she'd probably be like, I'd take a walk around the neighborhood on a nice day. Then, maybe I saw a couple of my kids or whatever, we had like a lunch or a dinner over one of my kids' houses. I went to church and was around my church members and community, went to the homeless shelter and helped out whatever I was doing there. And then she would come home and, like watch, I don't know what she would want to do for night, like have a cup of tea or something. I don't know. But I know that would be like my grandmother's life. Probably read a book with her. She's in a book club. I don't know what the exact details of her life would be, but I know exactly what she would be thinking. Like I can guess what my grandmother's perfect day would be because I see her do it. Like every time that I see her, like this is what she did. She took a walk around the neighborhood. She went to church. She did the same stuff all the time that she cared about. Like that's what living like Gigi is. That's what doing like what we talk about doing. Like, hey, if you talk to Chris and True, like what'd you do? Well, Chris and True talked tonight and we talked about some stuff that we learned and shared it with other people and helped other people to do meaningful work.
It's the kind of work that resonates with you that makes it exciting, because you can ask anyone. They have this party life. I mean, I think you're one of your friends with a party guy, parties every night, go do sales, do that. But what happened? He get tired of it. You think it's okay. It's so much fun. Every night, I go out in the club and I go to some kind of dance club and just jump up and down with a bunch of people and then go home and crash and do it again. And to a lot of people, that seems like the life to be. But that friend of yours who did that, right? Eventually, that wasn't what he wanted.
Right.
You remember?
Yeah, it's the compound effect. It leads you down to other roads where you don't want to go. Maybe it was fulfilling.
When you think about it, even what you do today and not go down the other road, the dark road or whatever, even for that is for him to go and do the thing he does in his younger days, right? I don't think he still would want it because he has seen it. And the thing is, it's one of those things where when you growing up, you were told that this is the life you want. You were told this is the life you should be living. You were told this is how you should behave. This is what you should do, blah, blah, and all that. We're being told what it is that we need to do. We never were asked, what is that we want to do. And that's the thing is we go up and say, and it's like people say, you got to go out on a Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night. Well, that's go out doing what? What do you do when you go out? You think about it. All you do is jump up and down in some jam-packed club, who knows what, in some kind of music and disco. Even if you go to Las Vegas, what do you do?
Drink a lot,
You drink a lot. You spend a lot of money, right? What is the excitement? Explain to me. What is the excitement that you say? Well, this is more exciting than stay at home and do something that is.
It's because you're around other people and it's a way for you to. So like this is something I always struggled with, like a work environment.
I think it's a depriving of your relationship, and you want to hang out with the people.
Yes,
right.
Exactly.
And so you want to go to clubbing because your friends want to go clubbing. So they go because of you, and you go because of them. You think about it. Yeah. Neither one of you wants to go. Because it's expensive. It's so expensive, and it's take a toll on you. You get a hangover, and it's like the next morning when you go to work, you're like suffering. And to me, you are yearning for that connection, the relationship with some other jazzy Jeff. You're trying to find your jazzy Jeff, but in the wrong place, right? If you have somebody, you can say, hey, what do you guys do? Well, I'm not doing anything. I'm just talking. Because you enjoy the company. This is to me, it's like if somebody was sitting down and having a cup of coffee and just chatting the day away, and to me, that's exciting. That is exciting because that's what you want versus because the thing is it's about that meaningful relationship that we're talking about. Meaningful relationship before meaningful work. Without a meaningful relationship, there isn't anything else. And I think that's why a lot of people hang out with the wrong crowd, just because just like one of a couple of members, she has a hard time trying to be authentic because she were conditions to say, well, I gotta be well liked because this is who I was raised to be.
Right.
I gotta be very amicable in terms of dealing with people. I shouldn't offend people, and so she bends her personality to the expectations, and that creates a toll on her mental health because she's pretending to be someone else. And second is that the people who are attracted to that kind of behavior is the wrong kind of people. She doesn't want that kind of person, because if she were authentic in the first place, the people that didn't like that personality will get repelled, and the people who are like her real personality will come to her, and they will have both. Just like I said, you go to the club because of your friends, and your friend go to the club because of you. Because because the thing is, it kind of builds up on each other. If you have the wrong, I guess, values, and then you attract people who has the wrong values. And
it's a compound effect. It's a compound effect of shit, you're right. It's like a magnet. Like Gigi and my grandmother and who I aspire to be, and probably who you aspire to be, are people that attract other people when they just know where they're going and they know what they want to do, and they're going to go do that. Like my grandmother, I cannot overstate this. Like, she gives no fucks what anybody gives a shit about what she does. If you're not going to do what she's going to do, she'll just be like, fuck it, I don't care. She's raised 8 kids, or 7 kids. And then she has a stepdaughter as well, because my grandfather died when I was 3 and she got remarried. So she has 8 kids, but we'll call it 7 and a stepdaughter. So she didn't raise that other daughter. She has 7 kids that she raised from childhood, and she just doesn't give a shit. Like, literally, she's going to do what she's going to do. And we all know that. That's what I'm talking about. There's this magnetic force field. Like, I could tell the way that Will would write about her. Whenever he had a problem and he went to Gigi, what she was going to say. She was like, he just knew, he already knew the answer because he knew who she was and what she did every single day. And like that's a magnetic draw for other people when they just know, like, this person is secure in who they are. It's like that book Attached. Remember when we talked about, attachment versus are you secure or insecure? What are the other two? You're either secure. God, what are the other two with attached?
Let's look it up.
The other two that are bad, versus the secure of attached. Like, when you're around somebody that's secure, like you feel that security that yourself, because you can just sense it in them that they know who they are. Like you said, like, they know who they are and they live that life on purpose. And that's the kind of person that puts a smile on somebody's face when they go, look, am I the best person in the world? Far from it. Like, there's a million things that I do almost every single day that's just ridiculous. Like that my wife's a saint for putting up with me, but she also knows what she's going to expect out of me every single day. Like, I don't really deviate from it very much at all. And maybe sometimes to her chagrin, because some of the stuff that I do is probably infuriating to her, but at the same time, she knows what she's going to get. Anybody that's ever my best friends, like you talked about, like the people that are your closest friends in the world that you grew up with and stuff like that, those friendships aren't founded off of going out and clubbing or doing a specific activity or something like that. They're founded in deep conversations and relationships and things that we accrued over time.
You have to be you in front of them, right?
Oh, for sure.
If you're not you in front of them, that relationship would not last. And there's no meaningful relationship. You just think about it.
You're 100% spot on. If you ask any of those 5 of my best friends that I grew up with and I'm still close friends with today, is there characteristics about me that they hate? Oh, I'm sure. Without a doubt, they will go on a tirade about how much I like to argue about everything, how much I'll always try to be right, and I'll never give up on stuff. But at the same time, that's why they love me too. And I know that because they know what they're going to get with me every single day, all day long. And I know what I'm going to get with them. And that's why I'm friends with them. There's been many people in my life. Same thing with you. There's been many people that I've met in my life where I'm like you said, that person's, I don't know what I'm going to get with them. And I don't want to be around them. You give them a chance. And like, I always start with belief, right? Of every relationship, and give them a chance and see how they behave. I don't want anything to do with somebody that can't be like Gigi. You know what I mean? I don't want anything to do with somebody that can't be like you. I know what I'm going to get out of True every single day. Like, when I ask you, how's your day? I know I'm going to get the answer. It was good. Like, I did what I wanted to do, and that's fine. Like, that's exactly what my grandmother would say. So if you were asking me at the beginning of this, is how do you be like Gigi? Well, you're already on your way. And that's the point of it, right? It's a lifetime of saying yes to the stuff that you want to do in your life and knowing what purpose making purpose-driven decisions about what you care about.
Right. You got to method act into a role that you found for yourself. You have to find who you want to be or who you're supposed to be. It's not about who you want to be. And I think what you're supposed to be and what you want to be, it's pretty much the same if you find the real you. Because like I say, if you're a beaver, you don't want to be anything else.
Just what did you say a second?
If you're a beaver,
Wait,
You get it,
can you
Dan?
hear it? Yeah. All right, I can hear you. All right, sorry to
Okay.
interrupt. Yeah.
Yeah, it's your genetic makeup. It makes you affinity for whatever it is. Even if I love tennis, I'm not built for tennis. I'm not gonna be good at it. Eventually, want something. I don't have the talent or the physical abilities and characteristic for. It just doesn't work that way. If I'm a beaver, right? I cannot be a rabbit. I just can't. I can't be a wolf. I just can't.
Prepare to try.
End of the day, you want to be and you attempt to become a wolf or whatever other animals that you're not. You're gonna suck at it, and eventually you don't want it.
Right.
So
Yeah.
you're supposed to be a beaver. You really want to be a beaver because you're so good at being that. It's just that's what you want. So the problem I see is that growing up, we were conditioned by society and everybody else. Even the biggest thing is, your parents and your grandparents and everybody around you is part of society. So they mean well, and they try to teach you what they think is good for you. But sometimes, it's not because they're not you. And so they cannot say, you this is what you're supposed to be. This is how you're supposed to act or how to behave or how to talk or whatever. Everybody says the same thing, but everybody can't be the same person. They have to be themselves. To me, that's the blanket that hides who you are. But if you were to ask yourself who I am and figure out for yourself, you can take off the blanket and basically see yourself for who you are. And once you do that, then you can be Gigi. You can be Gigi at any age.
Go through your whole life never being, achieving Gigi level status, but you could also, like you said, you could be Gigi anytime. Like, I mean,
and unfortunately, I see a lot of people who never level up to Gigi.
No, I mean, I would say the most people. I would argue that a lot of grandparents are like Gigi only because they've gotten to the point in time where they're so aged so much where they're like, I don't want to do this shit anymore of like what I used to. I'm tired of this. Like I should have been doing this my whole life.
Think about Gigi or your granny, right? Her life is probably not ordinary. And the reason why she become Gigi is because of the obstacles she has gone through. If you would never had an atomic bomb or had any kind of obstacle, you would not be able to level up to a Gigi just because you work all your life and everything was smooth sailing and suddenly you retire, then you find out, hey, I don't know what to do. I don't know who I am anymore because I don't work as this salesperson at this company anymore. I work for this company for 50 years, right?
Right.
Now that I'm retired, I don't know what to do. Most people who retire and don't have another activity or purpose to do, they probably die within 5 years to 10 years. I mean, and that's the reason why the age of retirement and Social Security is in that, because statistically done by the large numbers by the insurance company is how an average of how long somebody live after they retire, after the retirement age. They did it on purpose. Yeah. The retirement age was set on purpose because they knew that the people were going to die, and a lot of people do. And that's why it's confirmed to me the sad facts that most people don't know themselves. Because if you don't have a purpose, how the hell are you going to live till 80 years old?
You can't. It's your ikigai, right? Like, I mean, we talked about that one, a while back, with like why people in Japan and certain areas of Japan live so long, right? It's because it's a purpose-driven life, because you're right. You make such a really good point about I never want to look at the thing that we went through, in my life with Amelia and the atomic bomb as a blessing or something, because that's never
right. Because I'm saying that forces you to reevaluate your life. But I'm saying
you don't have to go through that. We talked about this.
Go through an atomic bomb to benefit from the lessons.
I was going to say, you make such a good point, because one of the things that I've learned about my grandmother, because I've tried to dig into some of this stuff with her as I've been on this own journey myself, and I talk about it in the book, right? That was one of the reasons why the whole, fix your basement, conversation and everything, right? My grandmother, her brother and his wife passed away with 4 young children under the age of 6. So my aunt Christy, my aunt Joanna, my aunt Sandy, and my uncle Jeff are actually my grandmother's first or her nephews and nieces. So she has 7 kids. She has 3 of her own: my mother, my aunt Lisa, and my uncle Danny. My grandmother's kids were, I think my mom was 17 when this whole accident happened. My Aunt Lisa was in her teens and my Uncle Danny was probably 13. I don't know exact ages of when this all happened. She had kids that were pretty far down the road in terms of like, grown. And her brother died along with her sister-in-law and 4 young children. And her and my grandfather decided to adopt them because they saw that was her purpose, right? And that was what she talked about. Not only that, then my grandfather dies a handful of years later from cancer. She went through that and then was raising 4 young children along with having her other older children out of the house now by herself. And then she got remarried, and her husband, his name was Don. They were married for like 5 years before he was also a widower. But before he was diagnosed with Alzheimer's. And then for the next decade of their marriage, she was taking care of him as he slowly died and, succumbed to Alzheimer's. And she's been basically taking care of a dying husband for a big chunk of her life / all the other stuff that she did with raising these young kids and losing her. I mean, talk about trial through fire, right? My grandmother's gone through some shit. She knows what's important in life, and that exudes in the actions that she does every single day because she's like, I don't want to mess around with this shit anymore. And she learned that very early on. And she's told me that, right? That's where a lot of this stuff comes from. And I don't know what Gigi's life was like because we didn't really get into that. But to your whole point around this whole conversation, I would be remiss to never talk about the whole slap at the Oscars with Will Smith. After I finished this book and having this conversation about being like Gigi and all the other stuff that we've talked about, that's the biggest thing that Will has been missing his entire life. He's incredibly disciplined and focused when he sets his goal out for something, but it's always been for somebody else. It's always been that way. And this whole entire book was a journey for him to try to figure out, what do I want? And you could tell the whole Oscar slap came from him of a lifetime of repressing what he wanted to do to please other people. And he's been in this inner conflict turmoil for the past couple of years of his life. And that was where a lot of this book and content of the book comes from, of him wanting to probably be more like Gigi. And he was kind of confused about, how do I do that? Because it's never been something he's ever done before. And my personal thought, I'm not a psychologist or something like that, or a psychiatrist, but I feel like that was where that whole conflict came, because he wants to be a protector of his family. He wants to do stuff that he talks about in the book a lot. And when he felt like his family was attacked and there's things that had happened in his childhood that he didn't ever defend. Long story short, he's been spending a lifetime trying to.
The thing is, it's about you have to have obstacles. And the thing is, my point is this, because when you have obstacles, you have no other choice but to say to yourself, is this what my life's supposed to be? Yeah, that question that you ask yourself, that's the pivotal point. The obstacle that you face, the bigger the obstacle, the more you are forced to ask that question. But it isn't a requirement. The requirement is the question you ask. Is this my life supposed to be?
Yeah, you could ask that.
Is this who I am, right? And so the thing is, you can be like Gigi without having an atomic bomb like you did. Because I can probably bet you, because you had such a good life, without Amelia being in your life, you would not have pivoted. You will be the same Chris as before.
No, I 100% agree. I mean, Amelia is
because the thing is,
my entire
she's
life,
the one that makes you ask yourself,
yeah,
is this my life supposed to be?
Not only that, she gave me a role model to
who I
am,
right? And then when you ask the question yourself, then you take her inspiration, right? Do you want to live for two? And to me, that's the secret ingredient. You want to do a pivot, you want to turn, then the question is the ingredient. It's not the hardship, it's not the obstacle. The obstacle forces you to ask the question. So if you have it, there's no other choice but to ask the question. But if you have a good life, and if you are considerate enough to ask yourself that question, you could turn yourself around and be authentic without carrying the hardship with you. Because like I say, you wouldn't wish the atomic bomb that you had on your worst enemy, because it's just such a devastating event for anyone to carry. And no one should have to endure that if they don't have to. And an atomic bomb is not something we can control. If it comes, it comes. If it doesn't, it doesn't. We can't control that. But the important piece of doing that is asking yourself who you are and what your life's supposed to be. Think about that first before you do the stuff. And then your action will actually going to fit into that role, into the characteristic that you want
Yeah,
to become.
your life aligns at that point in time. Everything is aligned.
Right, because like I said before, if you think yourself, I'm a writer, right? You're gonna say, well, what would a writer do? If you want to be like Chris, like what would Chris do? You want to be like Jesus, what would Jesus do? And you will behave. If you say, I want to be like Jesus and I want to immerse myself in that role and become like a Jesus or like a Gigi, right? If you say, I want to be like Jesus, and somebody say, hey, I want you to help me launder some money. Well, your action is not going to say yes. You're not going to say yes to it because you have this role that you want to become. The action doesn't align. You're going to say no. But if you did not have anything like an image of this is the kind of role I want to become, say, hey, you're going to have extra money without doing a lot of work. All you have to do, maybe you're an accountant that comes from company. All you have to do is buy some kind of equipment for $250,000, but it's actually only worth $10,000. And money laundering. Like in that scenario, because you don't have a value, you don't have a role to reference against, then your decisions isn't clear cut. You hesitate. You think about, oh, maybe I could use some money so I can buy a yacht or keep up with the Joneses. But if you say, I want to be like Jesus, and you know who Jesus is and his personifications, you're going to say no right off the bat. Like, no, I'm not. Jesus would.
Yeah, it gives you, it's a compass, right? It allows your life to be in alignment when you know who you are and want to do that on purpose, and that's when you are on the path to being Gigi. It's really not that complicated.
It is not complicated.
Right.
It's very simple. Not easy, but simple.
You don't have to live a life that's Will Smith's life. Everybody knows him. He has a book that we're talking about him right now. He's got a very public life, and he chose that life. He chose that life on purpose, and that was what he wanted because he thought that was what other people wanted, right? But at the same time,
well, I think that's the thing is that it all comes down to you. Do you really want that, or you want that because other people want it? And to me, I don't know about Will Smith as much as I should. No, he wants to be amiable with other people, so he is living a life that other people expect him to live. And to me, that creates an internal struggle. That's why
that's what his whole book's about.
He has a breakdown.
That's what his whole book's about. That's why I said that what happened at the Oscars was not.
Yeah, I don't think it was
not that crazy, not out of the blue. When you hear him talk about his own words, like, and he talked about this the entire time. He literally, this is what the entire book is about, exactly what you just said. But that's basically the entire journey that he was painting the picture of. And he's trying to correct that. He's trying to be more like Gigi these days, And unfortunately, he hasn't quite figured it out yet. And that's where that internal conflict.
I mean, the thing is, a lot of people want attention and become a public icon. And if they do that, well, they have no internal struggle. They have no stress.
Right.
But because he is becoming a public icon, but that's not what he really wants. Therefore, that there's internal conflict that creates that stress inside of his mind, and that mind is becoming a pressure, it becomes a crucible, and eventually it's going to explode and essentially have a nervous breakdown and just slap somebody. Because to me, it's like he's on the cusp of exploding, and that just a slight one single grain.
For sure. I mean,
whatever Chris Rock said wasn't that much of an offense. Just because one, it's like I don't think he intentionally to say it, and even it does, but that's entertainment. That's what you sign up for. So it doesn't matter if it is a joke or isn't a joke, or if it's true or it's not true. It doesn't matter. That's part of the public life that you have, and you accept it for your whole entire career. So that isn't something that should push you over the edge, but because there is so much weight on the shoulder already, a single grain of rice tipped the scale. To me, whatever Chris Rock did was very insignificant by itself, but because there's so much of a pile of other stuff on that scale balance already, the single grain of rice just tipped it.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. It was really, I can't tell you how disheartening it was for me to see that, not because of the action or something like that, because I just spent this time with him and his book, and I was like, oh man, I was rooting for him to be like Gigi and to figure out what he really cares about.
I think he's good. He's very good at what he does. I respect him for that. I respect Andre Agassi as well, but he doesn't want to play tennis for the sake of playing tennis. And I think Will Smith is a great actor, but I don't think he wants to be this public icon. To me, the key is to have the ability to be yourself at all times. If you can't, then you're always going to have that little traumatic
Yeah.
death.
You're one stupid joke away from breaking down. You know what I mean? Like you're like you told my grandmother or Gigi, like some stupid thing, they'd be like, I don't care.
Okay.
I mean, if you came on here and you said, Chris, you and True are the dumbest people ever. Like, you guys don't know anything. I'd be like, you know what? I agree. Like, every word that we say,
I don't know shit.
I don't care. Like, but are we doing stuff that we care about? And do I have any concerns about the
that's
words
the thing. You tell me, if you tell me I'm stupid, like I laugh, and yeah, that's probably true. Right?
It's not probably true.
And I'm having fun even when you're trying to insult me. So how can you insult a person who does that?
You can't.
You think about it. I'm laughing not because I'm pretending to laugh. I'm laughing because it's really funny for me.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so the thing is, if I laugh because I pretend to laugh or because I want to deflect whatever insult you have by doing something else to you, even if I can deflect it, it still hurts. But because I'm genuinely don't care, it doesn't hurt. You can call me 1,000 times stupid and I won't faze me at all.
100%. My grandmother, if you told her that God didn't exist, she'd be like, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you can say whatever you wanted to say, but that doesn't change the way that I feel. Like, you can tell her that Jesus doesn't exist, and she would be like,
well, you're fool, so
fine. I'm an idiot. Like, call me an idiot, but I'm gonna do this. Like, this is what I'm gonna do, and this is what I'm gonna do every single day. And I don't care. Like, what you said is irrelevant to me. Like, that's exactly what we're talking about. Is Gigi was really big into her faith, right? You could call faith purpose, right? Like, because it's really just believing in something. And like, when you have to believe in something, I believe in living for two. I believe in my daughter, and I believe in the life that she lived, and me wanting to try to do the stuff that we're doing every single day and the purpose that I'm trying. I believe in that, like, to my core. We talked about this with that stupid book from Syria to Bach. You remember after I was reading that, I was like, man, fuck, I built all this, these mental walls around this whole entire thing in my head, and it was messing me up a little bit for a tiny second. And then I was like, you know what? Fuck this guy. I don't care. This is what I want to do with my life. And that's what I'm going to do. You could tell me that I'm the biggest idiot in the world. You could tell me that I'm imagining all of it. And I would say, you're probably right. And that's fine. But it doesn't change the fact that I'm going to do what I'm going to do because that's how I want to live my life. That's the power of purpose, really.
I mean, I think that's what confidence means. I mean, when you have something that it doesn't affect you in the least, you have confidence. Regardless whether you're right or not. I think that's what confidence is. You have to be confident. Right? Confident isn't something that you learn, right? Confident is something you have as a result of knowing who you are, having the ability to be yourself. Right. When you're yourself, like when you yourself with your best friend or with your wife or whoever it is, like nothing you say will get them mad. And that's confident. You can say whatever you want. And to me, that's the good way to live. It's just because you don't have to watch what you say. You don't have to watch what you eat, how you behave. If you do that, you're constantly putting some kind of weight on your shoulder to carry around. And that's tiring.
Yeah, it sucks. I mean, it's really tiresome. Like it's like being a corporate climbing the corporate ladder and doing all the political hoops and stuff. The reason why I love this new job is because I literally said to my boss, to my now boss, when they were recruiting me to go do this job, I was like, this is exactly who I am and what I want to do in this role. If you're not cool with that, then don't hire me. You're the one that's talking to me right now. But if you want that, then let's do this. And he was like, yes, I want that. And like, you can do what you want to. And I'm like, great. So I have the freedom to be myself. Like, not only did I find a job that I really loved so far, I feel fulfilled in it, but it's to your point, like, they know what they're expecting from me to do, and I know what I'm expecting me to do, and then it's an alignment, and then everything feels like if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. That's fine. I don't really care, but I know that.
I think it doesn't work out because somebody is not being authentic.
That's
bottom line,
true, right? Yeah.
No, bottom line, because because the thing is, you say this is what I want to do, and you do what you said you would do, right?
Right.
Then if they say, well, that's what I want Chris to do, well, then not everything's aligned. It will work.
But it may not be what the business wants me to do.
That's the thing is they had a different vision of what you told them, right? What you say and what they received are different. And I think that could be the reason why. But if they have the same authenticness, I mean, okay, I see Chris as Chris and I know exactly what he's trying to do, there shouldn't be a problem. It will work. Because to me, anyone who has an itch will scratch that itch until it stops itching. I don't know whoever can say, well, it's an itch and, I'm not going to scratch it. Because
what's hilarious about you saying that is when I took a job at Salesforce before Amelia, I was not authentically being myself in that role, and I knew it. And I literally said, I'm not going to be authentically myself in this role. I pulled back all the stuff that I liked to do to commit to that job, so I could go work on a side project on the side, work on a business venture on the side, to hopefully be able to go do what I wanted to do. Like talk about
to keep your thing is, if you work in a job that you really don't align with, it's a lot of strain on your mental health. It took a toll on your mentally and physically.
For sure. It was horrible. I was running myself into the ground. I was working. The reason I was bringing up that example is like I inauthentically went into that role, and I told them what they wanted to hear, and I tried to do what they wanted me to do. Yeah. But at the same time, I always knew like this isn't what I want to do, and I was trying to do what I wanted to do on the other side. It was more of like a means to an end kind of thing in my head, like, but I lied. I mean, to be fair, like I lied. Like I did not tell them the truth when I went into that role as to why I was coming to this company and what I wanted to achieve there. Point blank period. And I've never done that before in my career. Any of the other two previous stops that I had in my career, I authentically went into there. Well, the first one, I didn't even know what I wanted to do or not. So like, I mean, I found my.
But at least you make a lot of money. I mean, you make a whole shit of money, but you're exhausted and you're really like mentally drained when I talk to you. I mean, like you say, Salesforce, to get into Salesforce is harder to get into Salesforce than to get into Harvard. But you got into Salesforce, but you're not liking it. And you make a lot of money and you're not liking it.
Right.
You think because you're trying to fill a role that somebody said, I think this is who Chris is supposed to be. And I expect him to be that. And you're trying to be somebody you're not. And that is a heavy, heavy burden you carry on your shoulder around for the past 2-3 years, whatever Salesforce.
And that's with me.
It's a miserable life.
You're right. I mean, if I didn't have the stuff that Amelia inspired in my own purpose and the things that what I did every single day, there's no way that I would have, especially given what we were going through as a family. If that was all that I was hanging on to, I would have gone. I mean, God only knows where I would have been at that point in time. But anyway, we're way over time for the night. But it's, I guess sum it up is, like you said, it's not anybody could do this. Just ask the question about what do you want to do with your life, and then go do that on purpose, right? I mean, be like you can
Gigi,
do it anytime.
And don't be like Steve Jobs. I mean, if you think about Steve Jobs, he has $7 billion net worth, and he has pancreatic cancer. And you think about it, at the end of his days when he's suffering, right? Does he want that $7 billion? He will give you $7 billion if you can take away his misery. He will give it to you. Yeah, you think about it. To a healthy man, they want 1,000 things. To a sick man, they only want one thing.
One thing's your purpose, probably, right?
What's the difference? Are you happy with it or not? That's what I'm saying. Is your Salesforce job, it's a dream job for a lot of people. Maybe. But it doesn't fit you. It doesn't align with you. Therefore, you were suffering during the time. And you did great work. You make a lot of money, but it took a toll on you.
I actually didn't do great work. I mean, I did okay work. I mean, for me, I just, I made money. But like, the only reason I want to correct that is because like, I've done great work in my past. Like, I know what great work looks like. It could be better. It could have been better. I purposely wasn't trying to be great at that job. Like, I didn't want to be great at that job. Held back from being me because, like you said, I knew that this was not in alignment.
Doing the things that Salesforce wants you to
do. For sure. And it's nothing that they did. It was me. And I knew that.
It wasn't just an alignment. And to me, that's a lesson that we want to bring forth today is, if you're not aligned with something, it doesn't matter what kind of reward that comes back to you. It could not counterweight. It could not tilt that balance in the scale, right? It just could not. I mean, whatever the burden you carry to become someone else, for whatever reason, that thing is so heavy that nothing else could counterbalance it. It's just not. And so instead of trying to go, I'm going to make $1 million and I'll be happy. I guarantee you, if that's not what you want, you will not be happy even if you make $1 trillion. But it's something that you want to do, you can make $50,000 and you still be happy. The money isn't the problem. It's the wrong alignment is the problem. And you can be happy with $50,000. You can be happy with $1 trillion. as long as you align yourself. Don't say money is what caused you to have these issues. It creates you an opportunity to become who you are if you have the money to buy that time. But if you can find something that aligns, money becomes a less of a factor, a very insignificant factor.
Right.
At the end of the day, as long as you have your security, your house over your head, and food on the table, you're happy doing. I mean, I want to be like the Mexican fisherman, have a small house in a small village, go fish for a few hours a day, catch 3 or 4 fish, go trade in 3 fish for, an apple or whatever, and then cook the other fish and I eat, and then I go have coffee with my neighbors. How much does that cost? I don't need $100,000 for it. I don't need $1 million for it. I don't need $1 billion for it. I don't need $1 trillion for it. Even if I have $1 billion, I don't know what to do with it.
Right. Yeah, no, I mean, who the hell knows what to do with $1 billion? Like, that would actually be a burden to figure out what to do with $1 billion. I couldn't agree with you more. You said something about it's light, like, it's either heavy or light. Like, I feel like when I look at like my grandmother and when I think about Gigi, like they just kind of like float through life, and not like in a bad way. Like they're just doing what they want to do.
It's like the burden you carry, it's so heavy. And I don't know how to describe that feeling, but that feeling, it's like it's giving you so much pressure, and it's like weighing you down.
It's like marshmallow shoes or something,
right? Imagine having, carry, some kind of giant ball on your shoulder, and you carrying and lugging around your entire life. That's a long time. I mean, think about it.
It's heavy as shit.
Not only that it's heavy because not only because it's heavy, it's by itself in the instant of the moment, but it's heavy because you carrying that for a long, long time. So imagine you carrying a cup of a cup, right?
Yeah.
I can hold a cup for like, it's pretty light. But imagine me carrying a cup for a day, 2 days, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 1 month. How heavy do you think this cup becomes?
Really heavy.
It becomes a lot heavy because it's tiring. And that's what I'm saying is people are doing this their whole entire life. That means that they are not who they are the moment they were born. Or not the moment they were born, but the moment they were told to shut up when you keep asking why. The kids, I think they start out and they live like themselves. And they be who they are until the parents say, "Hey, you couldn't do that anymore," or the teacher say, "Hey, you can't do that anymore." Right. You go and say you have to sit.
Society sucks.
Once you become a good student, your misery starts.
Yeah, no, you're right. Actually, that's really
because when you become a good student, you are doing exactly what they expects you to do, and that is to start when you're carrying, the ball and chain or whatever it is. It becomes so heavy. So being good is actually bad for you.
I think we could talk about that for another hour because I totally agree with you. But I'm going to go ahead and put a pin in this one because it was a great discussion, obviously, as always. But I'm tired. I'm going to bed. So no, I think you make a great point. I think we should circle back to that because I totally agree because I think that was a really good insight. But yeah, so summing it up for the day, the question we can leave with y'all is who's someone in your life that whenever you think of them makes you smile and you walk through life effortless, and somebody could be like Gigi or my grandmother or somebody else you just knows what they want to do and they do it on purpose, right? So thanks for joining, and we'll see you tomorrow. I don't know what we're talking about tomorrow, but we'll figure it out when we get here.
We'll tell you tomorrow.
Yeah.
All right. Good night.